Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm putting together my Project Life spread for the week of December 9th through December 18th, 2025, and I'm working with the Highs and Lows Storyteller collection from Ali Edwards. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so this is the week of December 9th through 18th, which is more than a week, but it's what I've designated as a week for my album for a variety of reasons. I decided to do more than 7 days per spread so that the last spread isn't just like this very short week, because I always want to end on December 31st so I can start the new album with January 1st. I also just decided to have, rather than having that short week, I decided to kind of like divvy up the extra days a little bit so that I would have only 4 weeks in December, I think. So it's less spreads, but that's okay because I do December daily. So I had a lot of stories told there, and I was more interested in kind of getting this album completed than having to like spread out and fill more spreads. So this one, I'm using the Storyteller Kit Highs and Lows from Ali Edwards. And so I have a plan for that I sketched out, and it is included in that classroom if you are interested in seeing it. That is paid content, so I'm not going to share my plan here, but I do have that off camera to kind of give me an idea of what I want the spread to look like. So this spread is all these 3x4 pockets, and I did pick, let's see, I have this filler card here, and I have this one. I think I was going to use this for my title. And then I have this, I was gonna put this on here. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna do that yet. And then my primary embellishments, I had these little hang tag things, which I thought would be cute on some of my photos. And then I'm going to do my journaling using these words. Wait, am I missing one? Oh, there it is. So there's these cards, and I think I was only going to use 5. There's 6, so I need to cut one of the colors out. And I'm going to put the words on each of these, and I need to come up with a story. So like this is going to be best, good, worst, bad, yay. And doing the up and down theme for this week actually worked out really well, because this week was full of lots of ups and downs. So I need to figure out what those stories are going to be. I need to lay out my photos. So let me just kind of do the photo part first. So the big thing that happened this week, so I was working a ton and also just getting ready for Christmas. So there's a lot of like that. I took a short trip to New York City in the middle of the week. So let me actually look at the dates. So this is the 9th through the 18th. And I went to New York City the 16th and 17th. So I think that's going to be like at the end of my spread here. I have a lot of photos from New York City because obviously that's just going to create more photos than other stuff. So that actually might take up more of that whole side. We'll see. And then on this side, I have just photos from like around the house during December. I did this puzzle. Probably need, I baked Christmas cookies. Thinking I need to put something over here so that I don't have all of the journaling cards in one spot. Okay. So then I'm just gonna kind of lay these out, figure out where I want to include them. Maybe like that. And then I need to figure out which story is going to go with each. So to do that, I'm going to bring over my taken out. Let me just kind of shift this up a little bit. Okay, so my taken out, and this I keep kind of current as I'm living life. I update it usually about once a week because I don't print photos every day, but I tend to do this on Sunday afternoons and fill in the week. I keep quick notes in my everyday carry to remember, especially like the earlier part of the week. So for this one, I needed to use, this to kind of come up with my stories. So what I do in here is I put like a photo, usually a photo per day, not always. And then I also just journal like quick facts about what happened the day, and I add stickers and stuff for fun. This, I have whole other videos sharing flip throughs of how I use this if you're interested. I'm also going to do this in 2026, so I am going to be sharing those flip throughs as well in a little bit of different format. But this is essentially how I keep track of my stories for Project Life. So I'm going to just kind of look through here and see what's going on. So I had a really busy work. So I'm just going to make some notes first. Work is so busy and stressful. And then I had my daughter had some like college stuff, which definitely needs to be mentioned, but I'm not going to share all of that on the internet. Let's see. A lot of holiday prep. We're wrapping. Let's see what else. We got C's candy, and some of these things won't end up in here as a whole story, but home improvement. We picked pink colors. We're getting some of our house painted in the new year. Finished my puzzle. Cookie baking. So we have crafting. We have December daily, 2026 plans. Okay, so let's see what we have. We have best, worst, good, yay, and bad. So I've got two bad ones. That's gonna be work stuff is worst. Bad is my daughter's college stuff. Holiday prepped, okay. Let's see, good can be New York City. Best can be, I think I'll do like some random like little things, and then yay, it's gonna be all the holiday related stuff. Okay, so I've kind of, you can see I kind of like broke those stories out. So then I need to figure out where they're gonna go. So the New York City one is going to be obviously over here. So I'll think I'll do it on this one. And then worst is all the work stuff. I guess I can put that one up there. Honestly, I think I wanted to not use this color, that color. I think I'm gonna use the purple. I don't like these two greens together, and I feel like this one's more Christmassy. So I'm gonna do this for the holiday prep, which was yay. And then best was all my crafting. And then bad was the college stress. Okay. I think that looks like a good setup. Then I need to figure out where these are gonna go on my pictures, but I don't need to do that yet. The first thing I'm gonna do is crop this down. So I'm gonna make 3x4 cards out of this, that this is gonna go on top of to create my journaling spot. So I think what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna put you guys on voiceover, and I'm gonna kind of create those cards in an assembly line fashion and start my journaling. And while I'm working on that, I'm gonna take breaks because my hand is gonna need to rest from writing to embellish the photos and create my title card. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on voiceover and get this one put together. Okay, so as I said in the introduction, this starts out in really kind of an assembly line fashion. And this is something I do very frequently in a lot of my projects, Project Life, or really any scrapbook project, because it helps me kind of speed the process and get more projects done.
I think my most common comment that I get or question is, how do I do so much with a full-time job? And so, although that's not exactly on point with what I'm working on, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. And so, first of all, I have to say, yes, I do have a full time job, but I also don't have any children at home. And so that gives me a lot of free time when I'm not at work. Second, I have a full time job that is extremely flexible. So, although my job is high stress, if you're not aware, I am a tax attorney. I am fairly high in my organization, and so I have a lot of control over when and what I work on. So I also have a lot of flexibility with my hours. So I work a lot of long days in exchange for days off and short days. So I have just a lot of like flexibility, which plays a huge role in my ability to craft and edit content. Part of that is that I do have a schedule where I work 9 out of 10 days, which means every other Friday I have off. And I kind of have designated those Fridays as a craft day. I spend that day crafting and editing content and filming content. So I often that's just how I get it done. I struggle a lot when it comes to getting out of routine. So like when I go on vacations, I have to edit and create more content so that I will be able to continue to release content while I'm away. But other than that, it's extremely manageable of a schedule. And even that, like I make it work, but I do end up having to do more editing and such on the weekends. I think another thing that plays a role in that is I am very much an introvert. So although I spend a lot of time with my boyfriend and I do see my daughter here and there, I don't spend that much time with friends. A lot of my friends don't live locally, or they have small children and they have a lot else going on in their lives. So I tend to see them only here and there. And most weekends, I am home crafting, relaxing, spending some time with my boyfriend, and just so that is like the long and short of it, is that I really have prioritized this in my life. And I know that that's not possible for everybody, especially if you have small children that take up a lot of your time. But for me, it does work. So anyways, as you saw, I completed those on an assembly line type of fashion to put them together. And then I'm going to work on creating my title card. I have this large stamp. This is from Studio Calico from years ago. And I use that to create the title card. Unfortunately, I missed some footage there. So I have actually been struggling with this a little bit. I use my Apple Watch to control my phone to do my filming. And lately it's been glitching a lot. So they added a pause function. So I've been pausing the video when I'm doing something that I know I'm going to have to cut out anyways. And then when I go to resume it, it just doesn't actually resume it. I've also had it has been like randomly zooming, which messes up my footage as well. So if you use an Apple Watch to control your camera, let me know if you have any tips, especially to stop the zooming, because the pause one I think I can always check, but the zooming it'll just do like randomly. So anyways, what you missed was I put together my title card and I used that large rolling date stamp to add the dates, which you can't see on camera now, but I will slide everything down later so you'll be able to see. And then I just added a chipboard piece on top of that die cut. For the rest of my embellishments, I am adding these like hang tags, and I went and got some brads from my stash, and I'm using those to kind of attach them. Even though I'm actually adhering them with rolling adhesive, the brad adds a little bit of texture and it just makes it look a little bit more complete. So you can see I'm kind of going back and forth between doing my journaling and then working on embellishing and other things on this spread. I like to do that because the journaling is actually my least favorite part, which people are always surprised to hear that, because I do keep a separate journal and I like to journal. I think just when it comes to scrapbooking, it is just not my favorite part of the spread, because I really love like all the crafty design parts. So the journaling kind of just slows it down a little bit. And my hand also gets really tired writing. And I need to think a little bit more about what I am writing, as opposed to a lot of this crafting stuff. I tend to have a TV show on in the background and I'm just kind of enjoying it, but I need to pause my show when I do my writing so I can focus. So doing a gap in between each journaling card just helps me kind of think through a little bit more what I want to write and give my hand a rest and enjoy the process a little bit more. As you saw earlier on that sticky note, I wrote down what the stories were that I was going to tell in the spread. But I liked this different angle of having to split my stories up by these different headers. So I definitely would have or could have told these same stories in a different format, but adding these best, bad, worst, good, and yay words really helped me just kind of, it was a nice prompt to make me think outside of the box with how I was going to frame my stories in my journaling. And that's just something to keep in mind when how you decide how to do your pages. You can do something like this where you have some sort of prompt to respond to, and that just will help guide your storytelling. So if you also struggle with the journaling, sometimes something like that just really helps. So at this time, I'm also trying to decide what embellishments and things I want to include. I have this one last hang tag and I really want to use them all up. I think I was talking about this in a recent video, although I'm not sure. I think this one's actually going to go live before that one. But when I am using supplies in a spread, I want to use them all. So like these hang tags, for example, I can't see how many there were, but say there were like 7 or 8 of them. I want to use all 8 because what I don't want to do is use 7 or 6 and have 1 or 2 left to put into my stash, because then I have this one random thing in my stash that's taking up space, and it's just so much. It's just such a relief. It just feels good to use them all, which has been a huge focus of me for the past few years as I try to reduce my stash. It's also been a huge shift for me because I used to purposefully save 1 or 2 of each thing because I didn't want to use them up, and I was kind of a craft supply hoarder for a while. Which goes back to when I first started crafting, I really didn't have that many supplies because I didn't have a budget for it. So they were all very precious. But now I have realized that that is not the right mentality, and I am trying to work on that. So anyways, back to what I'm doing. This is the week before Christmas, and I have my December daily supplies out as I'm working on this because I am still working on my December daily at the time that I film this. And so I needed to add, or I wanted to add a few more embellishments. So it was a good opportunity to go into my December daily stash and pull some products out. So I used some of those like gold rimmed banners. Those were from an advent calendar from Ali Edwards one year. And these are from a totally different manufacturer. I can't read it right now. And Pink Fresh? I can't remember. But this is from a collection from another manufacturer from years ago. And I just wanted to use a few more embellishments. So I'm just adding some puffy stickers onto some of my cards. And then I pulled over a word phrase strip sheet, and I'm going to add some of these onto a few of the cards as well. This just gives me the opportunity to use a few more of my December daily supplies, bring a little bit of the holiday charm into the spread that was not using holiday pieces, even though there clearly are holiday stories. There's a couple of Christmas trees. I have my Christmas puzzle that I did, the Christmas cookies. It's kind of a holiday spread, but it's not the actual week of Christmas. So I like having that mix of the holiday supplies and everything else. I also have more December daily supplies than I could ever possibly use, and I do try to purge them and donate some and give them away. I did December daily giveaway boxes a couple of years ago, but I've kept all the things that I really love and want to use. I just can't use them all in my albums. So being able to use them in Project Life and other ways is a good way to kind of help reduce that stash. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip everything in the pockets. I'm going to do the journaling on that last card off camera, but this is going to wrap up this spread. I really like how this one came together. I really love having these repeated elements throughout the spread. When I work with a kit, that's something I really try to focus on doing, is having that repeated element. I think it really helps to make the spread cohesive, and it helps a lot with my storytelling and just getting it done. When I do really, really enjoy putting together my Project Life spreads, but I also want to finish my album and finish the spreads and kind of keep up to date. And one of the ways that I do that is by doing formulaic spreads like this. Thank you guys so much for being here. Here's a look at that completed spread. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you. Bye.